that's what I think of your Spuktrum, positive 99. Welcome, legends and heli heads and choppers and stick bangers and whizzle thumbs and lovers of radio control. Welcome to this episode on Heli Shed, titled Buyer Beware. Sounds a bit ominous. Buyer beware? What have we got to be aware of, Heli Shed? Well, come with me and I'll tell you all about it. So behind me, under wraps there, is a 700 size scale fuselage Bell 222, otherwise known as Bella. And I've just recently completed her. And if you want to follow that, then you can have a look at the videos up there. I think it's up there, or is it up there? Either way, it's up in the top corner there. So by all means, go and watch them. But as part of that journey, I wanted to ensure that I had a 9-channel receiver in Bella. 9 channels, because 6 of those channels are used in flying the helicopter. And the other 3 channels I wanted to utilise as part of the uniqueness of Bella. Bella has lights, I wanted that on 1 channel. Bella has retractable landing gear, I wanted that on another channel. And Bella also has a sound system, and I wanted that on its independent channel. 6 plus 3 equals 9. Now, if I wanted to go out and buy a Spektrum receiver, an 8020T, for example, it'll cost me about 90 quid. And if I wanted to bump that up to a 10 channel, which I'll have to because I need 9, then I'm going to pay about 120 quid. And there I was a couple of weeks ago thinking to myself, well, there must be a 9020 out there somewhere that someone's selling for second hand. I mean, there must be. Fleabay it is. So I go on to Fleabay, and sure enough, there is an AR 9020 for 50 odd quid. 50 quid for a 9020? What on earth? It's obviously a fake. It's obviously a fake, or a clone. It's got to be one of those 2 things. They're 2 separate things, remember, clones and fakes. Fakes purport to be something that they're not. Clones, however, well, you know, to a certain extent, they're just copies and renamed in a certain way. Your K-bar and your Mikado V-bar is a good example. Your ALZRC helicopter and your Saab and your Turrets and your all the rest of them. You know, there's lots of clones, but they're by companies that stand on their own merit. A fake, however, is just downright skullduggery and deception. But you know what? The AR 9020 was going for 50 odd quid from a guy in Basildon in the UK. And I always put a search in for UK only. Now, it's very unlikely that I'm going to get a fake from a guy in Basildon in the UK. So, of course, I buy the 9020. And it turned up, and I was very excited. A little bit cautious, though, some Chinese writing on the back. But there it is, AR 9020, and sure enough, inside, there it is, the Spektrum 9020. Cool, you know, I thought Spektrum was orange rather than dirty brown, but never mind. The 9020 with the 9 channels, the 2 satellites that come with it, a bind plug, which seems to be sunburst orange rather than the normal sort of orange. But no, look, it can't be a fake, can it? Because it's from a bloke in Basildon in the UK, right? So here I go. I come down the... Oh, is that wording a little bit blurred? Never mind. It must be just because Spektrum had a bad run on the printer. Who knows? It's from a bloke in Basildon, remember. Not Guangdong province in China or Shenzhen or anywhere else. No, this is from good old Basildon. So, down the heli shed we go. So I go down to Dad's Oasis heli shed. And in the heli shed with my 9-channel, although slightly suspicious AR 9020, I then start the beautiful journey of 3 hours of trying to get the 9020 to work. I swap out the 8020 or the 8010 that I've got in that. Actually, I think it's an AR 8000. It's an 8-channel, but it's a Spektrum one. I swap it out for this one. I connect the 2 satellites and I bind it to my NX10. And only one of these satellites works. And I'm thinking to myself, well, hang on, wait a minute. Something's not right there, is it? So I remove the aforementioned bad satellites and I use my own satellite. And That satellite didn't work either. So I thought, oh, crikey, well, you know what? There are 3 ports, as you can see, on the back there, for bottom, left and right. And I thought to myself, right, I'll try a different port. So I tried a different port. That wouldn't work either. In the end, I managed to get it to bind with just the main receiver here and 1 satellite. But of course, the AR9020 is designed to bind with 2 satellites and not 1 satellite. And there will be issues with jitters in the signal and all other sorts of problems as a result of, you know, it not being bound with the 2 satellites. This is because the wave is split between the receiving polarized, diverse, as they call it, diverse receiving system. So it needs the 2 satellites. It's a bit like the AR8000. You can't bind it or use it straight off unless you fit the satellite to it. You can bind it and then remove the satellite, but you've got to bind it with a satellite. Otherwise, it just won't bind. But I now managed to get this bound, and I go through the MicroBeast setup on the helicopter, and this is where I first start to move into the complex and suspicious area of this receiver. The receiver would maintain communications with the transmitter for about 3.5 minutes. I got to a point where I could almost time it exactly, and then it would have a sort of modern day version of a brownout. There would be no communication between the 2. The receiver turned itself off. And that's literally what happened. Because the way in which I managed to get the receiver back into receiving a signal from the transmitter is on the transmitter going into the system model mode and then coming back into the main menu, and that would then reinvigorate the receiver and kick it back into life. But clearly, that's just not good enough. I also noted that the servos were jittering on move. The swash was moving up and down in a jittery motion rather than smooth motion. All of that stereotypically indicators of either 1, you've got a dodgy servo in the circuit, or 2, you've just got a shit receiver. And guess which one it is for Bella? Well, it ain't dodgy servos, I can tell you that. So, you know, not happy. I then go on to the interweb, the tube of you, and research further. I mean, surely some people must have had problems like this before with the 9020. I mean, it can't be a fake. It can't be a fake. I mean, it's from Basildon. Remember, it's from Basildon. And even though Spektrum there, as you can see, is a bit brown and a bit, I don't know whether that will zoom in. Will that zoom in? Oh, probably not. But the Spektrum writing is a bit brown, and the lettering is further away from the middle line there. Oh, actually, yeah, you might be able to see that now. And the bind plug there is like so bright in orange that actually it's burning my eyeballs out. It looks genuine. It looks like a Spektrum receiver. And then I go on to the tube of view, and then, oh, some money in the bank there. And then I go on to the YouTube, and I start to look at other people with their 9020, and bloody hell, we're rich. There's another £100. Oh no, that was money out. Shit. So I go on to the tube of view, and I look at other people with their 9020s, and bottom line up front, all of this are fake. And clearly, I'm not going to put that on Bella, am I? I'm not going to fly a Bell 222 scale fuselage at a cost of about £3,000 all in, with a receiver that's got a crappy reception system, is not diverse enough with 1 satellite, let alone 2 satellites, and is questionable in its ability to receive the signal that's being pumped out by the NX10. So I email, and I'm not going to go in the ins and outs of this, thankfully for you. I then communicate with the guy in Basildon, and I say to him, the item you've sent me is defective. It will not bind with both satellites. It will only bind with 1 satellite and loses a signal exactly 3.5 minutes. Every single time, no matter what, it happens. So can I have a return address, please? Because I didn't have a return address. Funny thing is, as a buyer on eBay now, the seller knows your address, but you have no idea where it's coming from, do you? Something's wrong there, in my view, GDPR. Why can't I know where it's coming from? Why can't I know my friend's address in Basildon? So I get a response back from Positive 99, which is the name of the person who sold me the Spektrum AR9020 from Basildon in the UK, who asked me to, and I quote, "Can you take a video of it not working and send it to us, please? We won't consider a refund, etc. unless we've received that." Well, there then starts an email trail between the both of us. What is disgusting and annoying about this is that my friend in Basildon turned out to be someone in Guangdong province in China, using a PO box in Basildon, duping me and eBay that the person is in the UK in the first place, and just very simply utilising a PO box as a way in which they get around the filter system. This means that they can sell off their cheap, fake, shite items like this, which are completely and utterly fake. Now, if that was not Spektrum, but Spuktrum, if this was a Spuktrum, I'd accept this. That's my issue. I've bought a Spuktrum. I know it's not a Spektrum, it's a Spuktrum. But you know what? I decided to go for it. I decided to try it. I accepted the risk with the Spuktrum. But that didn't happen, did it? Now, I've done the same with Alibird. The Alibird is an ALZRC. It's not a SAB, it's an ALZRC. But when I bought this, it says Spektrum, not Spuktrum. So I expect it to behave like a Spektrum. And the disgusting thing about this is that, one, the electronics are flawed. Two, they're not going to work as they should do in a Spektrum. The Spuktrum is completely and utterly fucked. And more importantly than this just being a fake and taking money out of my pocket, more importantly than that is the fact that this would be in a helicopter that weighs 10 kilograms, flying around in the air, would have crashed into people, possibly with rotor blades going round at 1800 RPM, like machetes. That is what the Spektrum brings to the party. So after emails backwards and forwards, unbelievably, my friend in Basildon, but not, actually turns out a Foxmail address, which is associated with Tencent, which is a Chinese media company, governmentally controlled. It turns out they want me to keep it, or sell it, or pass it on, or even keep it as a spare, after I had asked about postage costs and RMA numbers and so on, and very clear they're not able to provide any of that. And where we are now is, I've been very clear. You will give me my money back, and if you don't give me my money back, I will make a video and put it on my YouTube channel, and I will report you to eBay. Now look, between you and I'm doing that anyway, aren't I? But I'm doing that because this, serious point now from old Heli Shed, and I'll really be serious, this is fucking dangerous. People out there who buy Spektrums, which is what they are, when they think they're Spektrums, they are dangerous electronics and lead you into a false sense of security. If it was a Spektrum, as I said, you accept that risk. But this says Spektrum. And as a result of it saying Spektrum, I have the assurance that this is top-notch kit. It's not going to, break on me. It's not going to stop receiving the signal. And more importantly, it's not going to put other people and me in danger from a very dangerous machine. That is the important thing of this lesson. So, the last thing that my friend in Basildon said was, could you take a picture of this and send it as destroyed and we'll refund you? Well, thank you very much, Positive 99. That's exactly what I'm going to do. That's what I think of your Spektrum, Positive 99. Wherever you are in the world, Guangdong, Shenzhen, Beijing or anywhere else, you can take your Spektrum and you can ram it right up your arse. Because here's the thing, we care about people's safety in the UK, and we use electronics that actually are going to work. And more importantly, seriously, if you're out there and you've bought one of these fake receivers from the many plethora of Chinese sole providers and manufacturers on eBay, then do yourselves a favour, take them out of your machine and destroy them. It's not just your safety and it's not just your money in that machine, it's other people's safety. Spuktrum, no. Spektrum, yes. Or go Neo. I feel like so much better now, don't you? Don't you? Spuktrum 0, Spektrum 1. And if you're that interested to know, I went back to the 8 channel and you know what? It works fine. Till next video, take care, bye-bye.